What's up, y'all? Welcome to another Successful Sundays. And happy June 1st, if you're watching this. We are finally hitting a 6 month mark of 2025, which is kind of even odd to say out loud, but it's exciting at the same time. So today we're really going to be talking about how to make the next 6 months and lock in and make it the best it can quite possibly be. But I want to be very clear and honest with you. It's not going to be something where you're going to gain the tools so that it's more with ease versus stress. Because I find personally, whenever we think about 6 months or we set goals and we do a reflection or refocus, we automatically get to the point where we feel so stressed out that we don't even pay attention to it, that we don't give the energy, that we get unmotivated. So this live is particularly for the people who sometimes feel unmotivated and sometimes feel like it's overwhelming and sometimes feel like they're just not no longer interested in said goal. Here's the thing, if you already set the goal, there's a good chance that your subconscious needs you to just fulfill that goal. It needs to happen for you to align with the next step. So, before we get any further, we're going to take 3 deep breaths just to clear out the air, clear out the energy, and refocus and realign. And for the week that's going ahead, and for the 6 months that's about to go ahead. So I want you to close down your eyes for a moment. I invite you to. You're going to breathe in through your nose and you're going to sigh it out through your mouth. All right. So in through your nose and sigh it out. In through your nose and sigh it out. In through your nose and sigh it out. I also want you to relax your jaw, relax your forehead, allow your shoulders to drop. Because again, this live right here is specifically made for you to not feel overwhelmed when it comes towards thinking about goals and going into the next 6 months. Because we're about to lock in and we're going to make these next 6 months one of the dopest you've ever had in this chapter of your life. And I mean that. I mean that. All right. So, first things first, let's talk about um how you think the first half of the year has gone. But because I think we measure our success the way society measures success. So we think about money, we think about the things we have and the things that we've accumulated. But I'm going to be very honest with you. The more that I talk to people who are millionaires, the more that I talk to people who have that type of setup where they have like that sense of abundance in their life, they always tell me, like, "You can hit it and it's great, but you always move the goalposts. So, like, when is enough? Like, when are you okay?" And they always tell me success is actually sometimes the life that other people have, not what you have. Because a person that really strives for success, they have to make certain non-negotiables, certain sacrifices to get to where they are, right? So think about the goals that you set back in November of 2024, the goal you set back in December of 2024, the goals that you set back in January of 2025. The goals that you were like, these are what I'm going to do, I'm going to get it done. How are they going? And be exceptionally honest with yourself, because whatever success you're going and aligning with, the goals that you set is supposed to align you to where you want to go. So what happened to them? How are you feeling about them? What surprised you in the last 6 months? What did you learn in the last 6 months? Where did you grow the most in the last 6 months, right? And where did you fall short and what did it teach you? What certain things did occur and what did you learn from them? How would you want to pivot in the next 6 months? How would you want to how would you want the shape of your next 6 months to even look like? These are important questions to ask you. Let me tell you something. No matter what you do, reflection, not me hitting the mic like that. No matter what you do, reflection is important. I reflect every Sunday. I reflect literally every Sunday. How did my week go? What are some of the things that I did well in? What are some of the things I need to adjust? What I need to pivot? What didn't work out? What did work out? These are the questions and conversations I have with oneself. I always talk to myself. Okay, kid, what do we need to change or pivot and go into the next week to continue on the goals that we're working towards? I used to think that talking to yourself was kind of like you're nuts, but obviously I realized that's not the case. It was my own intuition trying to prepare me to where I am today, where I have these conversations with myself that are so clear and so important, where I can help myself make a decision, rational decision, not based on my emotions, but based on the factors that are in front of me and how I can move forward. This is important for you to constantly reflect. And you may not have every Sunday to do it, and that's cool, right? But what are some of the five, maybe five goals for your personal self that you can have a Sunday to just chill? What are some of the non-negotiables that you're willing to set? Okay. So I'm now we're gonna go on to like rest. I heard a quote today and it really sunk. It was like a caption from a video. And the caption read, like the person wrote it in, and bless their heart, that rest is rebellion. And I can't literally read that this morning. This is now 7 p.m. in the evening. I still can't forget it because I think about how I used to resist rest. And you probably are resisting it right now, thinking that you have to constantly go and go and go. But can I tell you something? Part of your goals is that you need to rest. So when you think about the goals that you set, what is one way that you could pop in some self-care in there? Each goal that you set should reflect on how it can benefit your life, not just you in your bank account, not in the connections and networking, but how you can also take care of you. You're human, you're not a robot. So, although maybe you didn't hit all your goals, were you resting in that time? Were you taking care of yourself? Were you taking care of other loved ones in that time? This is important to understand that you have to give yourself more grace. Us human beings are so like typically we're so hard on ourselves because we feel as if that we have to constantly push the goalpost, make everyone happy, uh, you know, just be there all the time for other people. And then we forget about ourselves. We lose ourselves in the situation. We lose ourselves when it comes towards making certain decisions because we're afraid of what other people may think or say. But the truth of the matter is, sometimes what's holding us back from our goals is just life decisions and life situations. I don't know if you could see it, but it says life is lifing and people's peopling. No matter what we do, life is going to happen. We're going to go through pain. We're going to go through suffering. So if you find yourself not hitting the goals in the first 6 months of 2025, don't worry about it. It's okay. What did you do? Because I'm sure there's something you did and you're just not, you're forgetting about it. And maybe rest was one of them. Maybe rest was, we've been having such an interesting year when you, and that's me being nice when it comes towards what we've been seeing, the climate of the world, the energy of the world. It's been very like high, very negative, very draining. I'll even tell you, I took my mother to Cuba about almost 3 weeks ago now. And before I left, I felt an energy that was so draining. I didn't know my cup was on bare bones until I read my journal entry and I was like, ooh, we were going through something because life was kicking my ass. But I had to take a step back and say, okay, it's time for me to take care of me. And it just so happened that I was on a trip and I had to literally allow myself to rest. I had to. And I say that to you when it comes towards your goals. And like now we're gonna get really in the nitty-gritty. When it comes towards your goals, if you find yourself not quite where you want to be, and then you're looking at other people and they're crushing their goals, can I tell you something? You have no idea what that person is probably even thinking or feeling when they're laying down in their bed at night. We don't know their full story, right? We may think their life decisions versus your life decisions are probably completely separate. You could be going after this, they could go after that. Both of you are amazing human beings, but you could be going after this, you could be after this, and then all of a sudden you get struck with something that you just have to deal with. They don't, right? So that's why I say like you can't measure your goals to other people's to society's standards. So if maybe in that mode when you're taking care of something that's so important and needs your attention at that moment, you need rest. And you shouldn't be feeling guilty by any means necessary when it comes towards rest. If you got to do it, you got to do it. You should never ever ignore those moments when your body is talking to you just so you could keep going and going up that hamster wheel. Who gives a shit about that? This is the moment for you to take care of yourself. So don't focus so much on what you didn't do, but focus on what you're doing right now so that you can just keep going to get to where you need to go, to do what you need to do. That part is just as crucial and important. And by doing that, you're releasing what's not working, right? But you're also allowing yourself to sit in it. Go through it. And in that moment, you can also allow yourself to refocus. Maybe you have to adjust the goal from where you are at the moment. I don't know if I haven't said this in a while, but meet yourself where you are at. Meet yourself where you're at and then make moves from where you are at the moment. Maybe the goal that you set back in January, obviously you had no idea that this was gonna happen. You didn't know that you wouldn't be able to completely focus on it because some things pop up. That's okay. That's life. That is part of it. One thing I learned about life is pain is it's inevitable. There's nothing we could do. I could coach you for years on years, but I can't strip the pain away because we're all going to go through it as humans. So it's important for you to refocus, to rest, realign, and also meet you where you are at that moment. And it's okay if some things don't come the way that you possibly thought it would. Because maybe when you have to realign, refocus, and rest in those moments and meet yourself where you're at, you have to recommit to that new standard. You have to recommit to where you are. Okay, I can't do this part. I can shift it for to the next 3 months. So what I will do is I'll recommit to just this one goal, not the 5 or the 6 that I said, just this one goal. Now, I want you to think about the next 6 months. I love visualization, so I'm going to invite you to try an exercise. You close down your eyes, and I want you to just visualize yourself hitting every goal that you have set, every single one of them. Like, I want you to to see it, smell it, feel it. Do this once a week. Notice I didn't say every day. Just do this once a week. Once a week. Another thing you could do is when you close down your eyes, again, visualization exercise, is just picture your future self across from you. I love this exercise. You've probably heard this many times, but picture your future self across from you and just meet with them. They're probably going to come with so much more grace than you're giving yourself right now. They're probably going to come to you with so much more understanding than what you're giving yourself right now. So much more compassion and empathy because we put so much stress on ourselves to accomplish all these things, to hit all these, to dot all the I's and cross all the T's that sometimes we forget to give ourselves grace that life is kicking our ass at the moment. And it's okay. That's just part of it. Notice when I say when I said we're gonna lock in at 6 months, most of the things I'm talking about is self-care. If you don't have self-care on the back of anything that you're working on, you're gonna run yourself ragged real quick. I'm speaking from experience. If you are not taking yourself and making yourself a priority, I'm gonna say that again. If you are not making yourself a priority because you are a priority and nobody else is gonna make you priority but yourself. So if you are not doing that, the goals don't even matter at all. So yeah, going back, visualization, talking to your future self. You can close down your eyes. I suggest you do it in the most quiet room you can. The other one is just visualize yourself being succeeding at the goal. Okay. Another one you can do is record on your phone, iPhone, Android, computer, iPad, whatever. We all have recording as an option. Record your once you visualize and you know what it looks like, record talking to yourself as if it's in like a future past tense. Like, "Hey, we've accomplished this. We've done this." And play that before you go to bed. You can play in the morning too. To be honest, I play it in the morning and before I go to bed. And my snippet's like 2 minutes. I play it right before I go to sleep. You could do that as well. Now, we're gonna get down to the nitty-gritty of like things you're gonna write down. Okay. On a sheet of paper, you're going to do the 5-4-5 method. Okay. So that means 5 goals, 4 little moves that you're going to make in the morning, afternoon, or night, however it works for you to make those goals happen. And then 5 long-term goals. Okay. So the 5 small goals is something you could do within the next 6 months. Just the next 5 goals that you just want to accomplish in the next 6 months. The 4 is what's going to help you get to those next 5 goals. Okay. And the 5 goals after that, remember it's 5, 4, 5. The 5 goals after that are the ones that are the long-term goals. And they all have to the 4 goals are actually most important because the 4 goals is what's gonna help you get to the short term and the long-term goals, like 4 habits. So I'll give you an example for me. Prayers are non-negotiable in the morning, okay? Um, Supplements are non-negotiable for me in the morning. Exercising is a non-negotiable, although I don't do it every day. I do it 5 days, 4 to 5 days out of the week. And eating a healthy breakfast and a cold shower as well. I think that is around there too. Can't remember. That's more than it's about 5, but it's I know one of them it's like a slash. So those are my 4 that I do every morning, non-negotiable. And I did it for a month and I've been sticking with it ever since. So 5, 4, 5. I'll put it in the description so that you can give it a shot because having it broken down makes it so much more easier. Now, while you're writing the 545, go back and look at your goals that you set back in January or December of last year or November of last year. Go back and start looking at the ones you did accomplish. Check them off and celebrate. We're not just doing these goals just to do them. We're doing them also because we want to celebrate too. Okay? Before we move the goalpost any further, because many of us do that, we accomplish the goal and we just keep pushing it, and we forget to actually celebrate the goal in the first place, which is the whole point. I don't care how you want to celebrate, but make sure you celebrate the goals that you have accomplished. All right? And kind of going back to rest, I want to make this part very clear. Never feel guilty for doing it. Never feel guilty for resting. Never feel guilty for taking a step back. Never feel guilty for just sitting down. Never feel guilty for pouring into your cup. Never feel guilty for taking care of yourself. The goals will come through no matter what. You're going to work towards them. That's a given. You're going to succeed at them because you are striving for success. You're not on the self-improvement and personal development journey for no reason. There is a reason for that, the fact that you're on it. So you're going to succeed. That is not even a question. But you also have to make sure you give yourself grace in the midst of it all. You have to make sure you do that because if you don't, again, you're going to run yourself down and you're going to be exceptionally, exceptionally tired. And it's not a good feeling. It is definitely a horrible feeling. All right, y'all. So that's all I have for you today. I'm going to leave you with this one affirmation. And I'm also going to put the 545 method in the description below so that you could give it a shot. And the questions that I've also asked for you to just kind of like jot out so that we can do a mid year check in, right? I'll put them in the description for you. But the affirmation that I'm leaving you with is I'm allowed to reset. I am worthy of a full, aligned, intentional life. I'm allowed to reset. I am worthy of a full, aligned, intentional life. All right, y'all. That's all I got for you today. Again, you have a successful week. Thank you for popping on a successful Sunday. I will see you next week. And you know what to do. Oh, don't forget, next Tuesday or this Tuesday, another episode will be dropping of the Dope Life podcast. All right. All right, guys. Cheers to another 6 months. We got this. We locked in. And maybe we'll even do a quarterly check in. If you want that, put it in the comments. We'll definitely do it. All right, y'all. Walk with peace. And you know what else to do? Walk with love.